and welcome back to the She Is Nikela D podcast. This week's episode is titled She Is Trusting the Process. All right, so let's dive in. We're going to get straight to it today, okay? So I titled this week's episode, She's Trusting the Process, and it's a cliche that I've seen for a very long time now. It's a cliche that I've adopted and that I do say. And when I first adopted, y'all, I'm trusting the process. Baby, let me tell you, I didn't really know to what extent. I didn't even really know what that like meant for real. I was just saying it because it was cute and everybody else was saying it. So I'm going to say it too because, you know, I gave God a yes and I'm on this journey. And so, he going to take me through the process and I'm going to trust the process. And lo and behold, I'm thinking the process is going to be cute. It wasn't always pretty. Sometimes the process looked very ugly. And it's real bad when you trying to hold on to stuff and God trying to help you and take it away. Ain't nothing like playing tug of war with the Lord. Just know He's stronger, He's mightier, and He gonna win that one, okay? So that's what I did. I said, okay, God, I gave you my yes. I don't know what this journey looks like for me, but I'm trusting the process is what I said. Until it was time to trust the process. See, everybody got faith or say they got faith until it's time to have faith. Like, meaning faith in action. Until it's time to use that faith. Okay? Everybody say they trust God until things begin to happen. And now they got to figure out like, oh my God, I said I trust Him, but godly in this moment it looks like I don't. So let me tell you about process. And come with me for a minute to John 12 and 24, and I'm gonna read it. And it says, "Very truly I tell you, unless a kernel of wheat falls to the ground and dies, it remains only a seed." Right? But if it dies, it produces many seeds. Now, we're talking about process, right? And trusting it. A part of God processing you or transforming you is this right here. Surrender. Process also not only looks like surrender, but transformation. Let's talk about it. Surrendering to God is not just about saying God yes and you doing lip service and you saying, Lord, I surrender to you. Because let me tell you, as humans in this flesh, we are wired in such a way to always want to be in control. We are wired to wanting to have things our way, to plan our life the way we want to plan it, to do whatever it is we want. We just wired that way. That's the fleshly side of us. We're human, We like having things in order, and we like wanting what we want when we want it. As humans. Instead of wanting what God wants, instead of wanting what God's will is. So there are some things we're going to have to let go of, and we're going to have to go in the ground as seed and die. And what does that mean? What does that look like? We're going to have to die to our own will and our own way. We got to let all of it go. That's what surrendering is. Surrendering is, here, take it. I don't want it. You can have it. I let it go. That's what surrender is. So what must we be letting go? For instance, our right to be right, our need to be in control, our dreams. And I'm talking about the dreams that we have, or the desires that we have that conflict with God's will for our life. That's a tough one, because we think we know what we should be doing in life, we should be going in life. Listen, let me tell you something. I've made some plans in life that went on listen, it went on the other end of the spectrum by the time God got done with me. I made a plan to have only this amount of children, to be doing this by this age, and to be driving this type of car and living in this type of house, having this type of dog. I had all that planned out. I really did. And God, He saw otherwise. He had another plan for my life, which I thank God. Dying to yourself also means letting go of our egos, of our pride. And here is one that, if you are a woman listening to this, because women, we love security in every sense of the word. Dying to myself meant I had to let go of the security that I thought I had. Like, I'm good. I'm secured financially. I'm secured emotionally. You know me, my crew, and we through. And I had to form my own security, but then again, I had to let it go. Because I was trusting in my own ability and what I could do. So I did all the things to make sure that I was secured and locked in. God is like, girl, give me that. You ain't doing nothing. No way. And so that's what it is. That's part of the process, self-denial. And we don't want to do that. I know what I'm talking about. And we don't want to do that. One of the main reasons we won't deny ourselves and be like a seed that goes down in the ground to die is because, here it is, we are afraid of the ground. Nobody wants to go down in the ground and feel buried. Nobody wants dirt thrown on top of them, thrown on top of their name, their character scandalized. Nobody wants that. Because let me tell you something. If you're going to be seed and you're going to be transformed and you're going to trust God's process, you must go down and you must go low in order to be high. You must go low. How low, Nikela? Dirt low. In the dirt low. And we as people are in fear of going in the ground. Because let me tell you what it looked like under the dirt. It's dark. It's lonely. There's uncertainty. And we ain't trying to go there. Going down in the dirt, you feel hidden. Ain't nobody talking down there. You're not recognized down there. Nobody's applauding you or patting you on the back down there. You're trying to push and move and get something moving and you know what I'm saying, make a thing come forth because you know what the Lord showed you, but it ain't really fully time for that thing yet because you still got more process to go through. Can't nobody recognize you down there. But let me tell you something. If you could just look at it this way. I'm down in the ground, but I'm dark. But it's dark down there. Going down in the ground for me looks like Psalms 91. The world sees it as dark and lonely and lost and buried, and the world sees it that way. But we as the children of God, it looks like Psalms 91, that dark place. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High. Because if you trust God, you must be in that secret place with him. Shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I don't mind being under the shadow of the Almighty. I don't mind being in that dark place, because that means I'm so close to God. I'm right up under him, under the shadow of his wing. That means he got me. But we won't be looking at it that way. We down there in the ground, tossing and turning and going through all of these transformations, and we dying down there, and God is just processing us, and he's pruning us, and he's breaking some things up off of us, and he's getting us out of our feelings and emotions. He's teaching us how to do that. He's teaching us how to respond. He's teaching us how to be angry but sin not. He's teaching us all of these things. And in the meantime, all of that stuff that we picked up over all these years that we've learned, he's teaching us how to unlearn. He's detoxing us. Because let me tell you something. Over the course of the years, if you're an adult, and if you're in your adult life now, you good and decent in your adult life, let me tell you something. You've experienced some things that ruined you, that tainted you, that has attached itself to you. Going down and making yourself a living sacrifice allows God to get that stuff up off of you. Yeah. Some of the things you do now, you know ain't a bit more pleasing to God. But you know what you got to do? You got to go down in the ground and die. But we don't like going now. But how many of you know that God does his greatest work when you're in the dark? He does his greatest work in your lonely place, in your valley experiences, when you by yourself. Because when he got you to yourself, then he can speak then. He can talk to you then. I ain't telling you what I heard. I'm telling you what I know. Telling you what I know. But let me tell you something. And I'm going to say this again. Unless you go down in the ground and die, unless something dies, it cannot be resurrected. God cannot resurrect what he's put on the inside of you, because you're too fearful of the ground. You're too fearful to go down there and die and allow him to transform you. And you saying you trust the process, but are you really trusting the process? The process hurts sometimes, y'all. You're going to cry going through process. You're going to be wanting to fight going through your process. And everybody's process ain't the same. I kicked, I screamed, I hollered, I cussed. Because it had gotten just that bad. And I'm like, Lord, what we doing? What are we doing? And then it seems like sometimes God will give me a little reprieve. Like he'll give me a break. And then right back at it. The pressing. The pruning. None of that felt good to me. In seasons, there were some seasons I'm like, man, what? Like, God, I am living for you. I gave you my yes. I surrender my all. And I'm like, I still got, God, come on now. Get me out of this and get me out of this quickly. But what the ground produced for me was great strength. But hold on, let me back up a minute. Let me tell you about the mustard seed. When that seed go down in the ground and die, and it goes through transformation, and it trusts the process, then it begins to sprout up through that dark soil and grow up towards the light. I'm telling you something. When you down so low, I'm telling you, and there'll be times in life you'll feel like you down so low. You ain't got no choice but to look up. I used to post on social media and I was hashtagging for a while. Eyes lifted, heart fixed. My eyes are lifted, heart fixed. There are times, listen, when my heart felt overwhelmed, Lord, lead me to the rock that is higher than I. I'm keeping my eyes focused on you. I was hurting and I was going through. My eyes were lifted and my heart was fixed. That no matter what, God, I've come too far to turn back now. So to go back, man, no, I ain't going back there. And so now, denying yourself and dying, sometimes, I hate to say, sometimes it feels like you're literally dying. It feels like crucifixion, the heartache. Like, God, how much more can I was going through a season one time, and I'm like, God, how much more can I take? He said, I still need you to show up. My excuse to him was, well, God, I'm hurting. He says, I need you to get up and show up. I said, God, but I'm broken. Please don't make me do it. He says, I need you to go. Why? I need you to go. I need you to go show up. I want to. God, I don't want to. I need you to show up. And that's all I kept seeing, and that's all I kept hearing. Show up. Do you know what that was producing in me? Every time I showed up and didn't want to. Every time I showed up broken. Every time I showed up, and I'm talking about heart just aching. Every time I showed up feeling betrayed. Every time I showed up knowing that I was being slighted and taught. Every time. He said, if I be lifted up, I had to show up and still give God the glory even when I didn't feel like it. I was going through process. And I'm like, God, you don't see? And I'm sitting here praying, many other afflictions of the righteous, but out of them all, if God before me, who can be against me? No weapon formed against me shall prosper. And I'm doing all this just trying to press in. He said, I just need you to walk with me. Will you trust me? I'm talking about in a hard time. Listen, going through divorce. Will you trust me? Losing your job. Will you trust me? Being betrayed. Will you trust me? That's him. He gonna ask all the questions. And again, oh girl, I'm doing my thing. I'm going through the process. I'm trusting the process. You trust it? But I'm gonna tell y'all something. Galatians 2:20 says, I have been crucified with Christ, and I no longer live, but Christ lives in me. Going through my process, y'all, I felt all the feelings. And whether I wanted to or not, I had committed to God my yes. I had surrendered to God. And I had to walk through and feel every bit of it until I couldn't feel no more. It was lonely, and I felt like nobody understood me. And so the more I walked and the more I trust God, I was coming out of my feelings. God was saying to me, if you just go ahead and die, you won't have to worry about all this, girl. You're doing too much fighting. Fighting a battle that was his. It wasn't even my battle to fight. It wasn't my battle to fight. And I'm going to tell you something, by the time I got done with that, I said, God, none of the things that used to bother me don't bother me no more. And I'm going to tell y'all this. A dead man can't feel. And not to say that that God had made me calloused and my heart was hard. That's not what he did, man. My heart was softer than ever. Because as I began to walk through process, what God began to do was chisel all of that hardness off my heart. Making me show it when I didn't want to. He was doing something in me. Process is not pretty. And I had to trust God with the ugly parts of me. I had to trust God with the parts of me that I wanted to hide. I had to trust him with that. And it was that constant reminder, that cliche just kept playing in my head and in my mind. I'm trusting the process. And God was like, you said it. Now let's go. And with so much love and with so much compassion, and no matter how much I fought, and with so much grace, God held my hand. And at times when I didn't want to walk through the doors, when I didn't want to show up, he carried me through and placed me right there to make sure I was there. I was committed to it, but sometimes my legs were too weak to move. And I said, God, I'm at a low place now, and I ain't feeling this no more. I ain't feeling it no more. He said, but you said you trust me. And at the end of the day, God didn't do it to me. He didn't do it. Going into hiding for me, wanting to stay home, buried under the covers, to me that was safe. Staying in my house, just me and mine, that was safe for me. God said, no more playing safe. No more playing. By the time he brought me out of that, it was no more playing safe. No more playing small. No more being in the background. I'm calling you forth. God, there were times where I was like, God, you can have it. Because I'm sick of it. I'm sick of them. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of that. God, what are we doing? And I don't care how much I fought him. He's like, you've come too far. Process was ugly. And so while I was walking through my process, y'all, what God was doing was lighting me on fire. That's what I felt like. He was lighting me on fire. But God is not an arsonist. He's a refiner of fire. Meaning, a faith that can't be tested, can't be put to the fire, is a faith that can't be trusted. God needed to know, listen, I'm about to take you somewhere. And I need to know if you're going to be able to stand. Now, there's some things you got on you. There's some things you got in you. And I need to burn all of that up off of you. If anybody know about pure gold, the gold has to be put in the fire in order for all the impurities to burn up off of it. Gold has to be put in the fire. In order for all of the impurities to come out. So now, with all that being said, I want to leave you with a couple of nuggets. I want you to know that even though you go down in the ground as seed, don't despise that moment. Always know that the dirt or what you're going through does not define you. You're in the dirt, not as being buried, but as being planted so that something can grow up out of it. So that everything God placed inside of you will grow. Because let me tell you something. You can't stay down there forever. If you allow God to cultivate what he's doing inside of you, inside that hidden place that seems dark and lonely, and sometimes you seem lost and forgotten, that hidden place is where God is doing his best work in you. That hidden place, it's holy. That hidden place is sacred. Allow God to do what he's going to do in your life. I'm telling you, it's going to be beautiful. Beautiful. Because at the end of the day, you're going to come up different. Once you come up through the ground, once God is done processing you, once you say, God, I surrender, listen, my life is in your hands, you're going to come up different. You're going to come up changed. You're going to come up healed. You're going to come up whole. You're going to come up as the new you and everything God is destined for you to be. So now don't despise the dirt. I'm telling you. Because when God plants you, he plants you in good ground. He plants you in fertile ground. Things grow in fertile ground. Because once you come up out of that ground different, because you're going to be different. Trust me, you're going to be changed. The tree that is going to come forth and the fruit that you are going to produce, and I'm talking about the fruit of the Spirit, the fruit that you will produce, people will know that the hand of God is on your life. The love, you're going to definitely have to lift your love level. The patience, the kindness, the joy, the peace that you'll begin to produce. Now let God do his thing. Some of y'all out there, you may feel hidden, but I promise you, you're being healed. You may feel crushed, but that's cultivating, baby. That's all he's doing. You may feel forgotten, but at the end of the day, when that tree comes forth, when that seed starts to grow up out the ground and your tree bears fruit, you're going to realize that the whole time you were just being formed. That's it. So let him finish that good work in you. Yes, it's a work in you. He's already begun a good work. Let him finish until the day he comes. I'm telling you, you'll be glad you did. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. And I just want to leave y'all with something. I want to leave y'all with the simple truth, because I know nobody wants to be like that mustard seed that goes down in the ground and die. I get it. I can assure you that. Nobody wants to be hidden away, to feel broken, to be buried, nobody don't want to go through that. I get it. But in that place of being down in the ground, that's the place of surrender. That's the place of transformation. That's the place of putting those words to the test, trusting the process. That's where all of that takes place. That's a place of dying. Not a physical death, but dying to yourself, denying yourself, surrendering your will. That's where transformation will truly begin. Now, you could spend all your life still trying to hold on to control and cling to what you think, or making your own plans that don't line up with the plan that God got for your life, don't line up with his will. You could spend your whole life doing that and get nowhere. Or you can trust the gardener, or you can trust God. Listen, so next time you feel buried or hidden or broken, you feel like you in the dark, remember this. You are not being buried to die. Hear me good on what I'm about to say next. You're being planted to grow. Y'all heard what I said? You're being planted to grow. And maybe, y'all, just maybe, that surrendered seed is the very beginning of the harvest you've been praying for. Maybe, just maybe, that buried seed is the beginning of something new for you. And listen, harvest time for you. Go through the process with God and trust Him in it. Harvest time for you would be beautiful. It would be plentiful. It will be, listen, all I need y'all to do now is to let go, let God, trust the process, because on the other side of death, y'all, is life, and life more abundantly. Until next time, listen, hold on to God's unchanging hand, and may the blessings of the Lord be upon you. See y'all soon.